right. Hi, everybody. We are starting at the second part of our lovely event today. I hope that you had fun in our first part, but this one's going to be also really exciting. Before I let Natalie introduce our lovely panelists today, just a few announcements. First of all, we have a surprise for you guys. We have here Eldad Rothman, who's going to join us very soon, who's the co-founder of Glasses USA. He's going to be here on the panel, and Glasses USA have prepared a special treat for our attendees today. So please make sure to check out the Glasses USA video quiz. If you answer it correctly, you will get a chance to win a free pair of glasses. You can find it by clicking on the sponsor tab in our platform. Go to the Triventures page, and it will be right there at the top. You can't really miss it. We will announce the winner during our networking hour, so please keep an eye out for that announcements. Now, without further ado, Natalie and team, the stage is yours.
Thanks, Noah. So very quickly, just to remind everyone who's on the panel, we have Eldad Rothman from GlassesUSA.com, Srulik Dvorsky from Tailormed, and Mirit Kagarlitsky from Kaltura. And I think you guys can all go off of mute. And just to start, if each of you could just give two-sentence description about what your core business is, and maybe we could start with you, Eldad.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. My name is Eldad. I'm the COO and co-founder of Glasses USA. Glasses USA is the largest online retailer for prescription glasses and sunglasses in the United States, with more than 2 million happy customers, a vertically integrated e-commerce company. That's it.
Great, thank you. Srulik?
Sure. Hey, Natalie, thanks for having me on this panel today. My name is Srulik Dvorsky, CEO and co-founder of Tailormed. We are a health IT company focusing on building solutions to address the cost of care problems in the United States. We've been working for the last 3.5 years and currently servicing around 35 hospitals and 200 clinics in the States. And great to join you today.
Thank you, Srulik. Mirit?
Hi, Natalie. Thank you. My name is Mirit, and I'm the Health Tech Business Manager in Kaltura. Kaltura is the leading video platform. We're powering all video experience from on-demand, real-time broadcast, you name it. Working with the largest enterprise, top-tier universities in the world, and also with tech companies that we are helping them to build their own video experience built based on our APIs. On the healthcare front, we are working with the world, the large pharma companies like Roche and Novartis and top-tier clinics to provide actually patients, but also healthcare professionals, a full set of engagement, communication, learning, and training tools based on video solutions.
Great, thank you. So you can't do any event today or any conversation without talking about the new weather. So we have to start with a question about COVID and how it's impacted your businesses. And just would like to hear a little bit about anything that's surprising, good or bad, that happened to each of your companies, and things that you developed especially for COVID or didn't expect to die when COVID dies, hopefully soon, or continue. So Mirit, since you're still live, why don't you start?
Sure, I'll be happy to. So let's say, obviously, during the COVID, we've been experiencing a high jump in video consumption and video usage through all of our verticals, different customers. One thing I can definitely say, customers' expectations have changed. Every customer in every industry is now looking and expecting to get a seamless video experience. Kaltura, we were doing it before, but during the COVID, we were doing it in steroids. And in the health market, it's no different. The health market wants and needs a smooth digital engagement with patients, with nurses, with doctor, everything. And I'll give you just one example. Let's say the word telemedicine. 6 months ago, if I would say telemedicine, you would say, okay, this is the call the doctor is doing with the patient, or maybe the video call they're doing. But today, we understand that engagement with patients is so complex. You have so many levels of engagement And as time goes by, this layer reveals. And the one part is the actually video conference, but the other part is a 2-channel content experience. This other part is the way you can share your knowledge, to share any kind of links. So we are building this, what we call this patient engagement during the COVID. And I'm sure that COVID makes people stay at home and governments want you to stay at home. But after the COVID, all the experience of this engagement will stay, because I think in some points it's much even better than what was before.
Great, thank you, Amirit. So Eldad, we're partners, so we know a little bit about what's been happening at glassesusa.com. So it would be good if you could tell us what you think has been the trigger for some very exciting activity that's been happening in the last few months.
Yeah, so like you said, and you probably know what you're saying, we enjoyed a huge growth in the last couple of months. It was a big surprise for us. I think it's due to the fact that all the optical stores were closed in the United States. People do need glasses, even through the pandemic. So we enjoyed a huge growth, a lot of new customers, a reduction of the customer acquisition cost, during the fact that there was a huge drop in the marketing costs. So we recruited and we enjoyed a huge number of new customers with a higher ASP, with more motivation to buy, with higher conversion. So actually it was a good time for our company. Another perspective or another level, I would say that it was a huge surprise to see 170 people working from home, and the business is working very well, and the employees are very happy. So it was a huge surprise also in that perspective.
Yeah, it is surprising how efficient organizations can be when everybody's in the same situation, working remotely.
Absolutely.
Srulik, Tailormed.
Yeah, so I think that I can share experience both on the business front, but also a little bit about how operation have been impacted, I would say. So I think that one of the things that was very interesting for us to kind of quickly adjust is the problem that we're addressing, which is financial burden for patients and revenue streams for hospitals in the United States have been significantly increased. And as a result of that, on the one hand, we've seen an increase of the demand for what we do, but on the other hand, appreciating the fact that both our customers and partners have challenges around their budgeting, thinking about innovative ways to adjust both our offering and the business model was something that we quickly adapted to. So on the one hand, how do we reduce the efforts to integrate a new IT tool for them was something that we decided to kind of build a lighter version of our platform, which allowed us to go more quickly during the pandemic and increase our customer base, allowing them to serve their patients in this challenging time, but also for us a potential upsell it afterwards to deploy the full solution of the company. To be honest, still not sure if that's something that we'll continue with after the pandemic or not. I think that what surprised us is that that allowed us to keep on discussions with a lot of prospects, but afterwards we're starting to see that a lot of them are still insisting on getting the full platform. So very interesting times to see what will come out of that afterwards. And also from a budgeting perspective, being very conscious about the fact that some organizations are concerned about their budgetary restrictions and find ways to reduce the risk on the customer side by, in our case, we are increasing revenue collection for hospitals. So making sure that they're able to see the value before we charge them, and by that, be able to kind of move forward more quickly without taking on the risk from the customer side. So that's one thing that surprised us, and still definitely seeing how it will continue after the pandemic. Maybe on day to day, we had to train a new muscle, which is to onboard enterprise organizations completely remotely. We were supposed to be, going live with a lot of customers in the last few months. And fortunately, we've been able to do that completely remotely without visiting a single hospital. But that's definitely something that I think that will continue. And I think that we are starting to see where the physical presence is required, where we can avoid that. And I think that moving forward, this is something that we will definitely have in our toolkit as a growing organization.
Yeah, we're also partners with Tailormed, and I think what we saw not just in your organization, but through many companies in our portfolio and beyond, is that COVID really pushed groups to think about how to continue to engage with customers remotely, and that is value that will continue also after COVID. That really helps to start the sales process quicker, get more leads in the funnel, and I think that of the few things that are silver linings to this event for companies that really push them to think differently and move things in a different direction. So Eldad, when Triventures invested originally in GlassesUSA.com, everybody said, what does that have to do with healthcare? And the way we thought about it is eyewear was once a medical device, and today it's a fashion item. And there are many people around the world that don't have access to eye care. And we also invested in another company called 6over6 prior to this, which enabled you to do the optometric exam using your smartphone. And the way we thought about, the investment in glasses is that it's really accessibility to care at the mass market. And your company has been around for about a decade, very successfully building the business right out of Tel Aviv. And moving from fashion eyewear to prescription, or expanding from fashion eyewear to prescription eyewear, to very recently signing a strategic partnership with the largest healthcare insurer in the United States, United Healthcare. So it would be great to hear from you how that journey happened, and starting as an e-commerce platform for eyewear, working with the biggest health insurer in the United States.
Okay. So first, like you said, when we started a decade ago, it used to be a medical device or like medical necessity, and it became like a fashion accessory during the years. People buy more and more glasses and more often to different occasions. There are another two trends that we see during the last few years. First of all, is the fact that the age of the user is becoming younger, probably because of the fact that we are using the smartphone. It really hurts our eyes. If 10 years ago, a multifocal, the average age of someone that is starting to use the multifocal was about 50, now it's about 40. So there is, of course, this shift, and of course, the generational shift. The millennials are coming to the stage in their life that they need glasses. Of course, their first choice is to go online. So these three patterns supported the growth of the business. It's true that the technology, and one of them is 6over6, that it's also a platform that we are using, enable us to communicate better with the customer and helping him with the fact that he needs to implement his prescription. But always during the years, we understood that like third of this market is controlled by the insurance company. Like third of this industry is getting some kind of reimbursement from the insurance company. And we understood also that there is not real value to the end user when he's going to claim his insurance for optical products. It's not a real value. He has the privilege to go to one of the stores and getting some kind of a discount, and glasses are very expensive. So a few years ago, we decided we're going to disrupt this industry. We approached all the insurance companies in the United States, and it took us like 2 or 3 years to convince them and to build all the technology that will support it, all the integration to the insurance company. It's not so easy. Besides that, you have to, of course, to take care of the privacy, the HIPAA compliance, and all the regulation, etc. We did started this, like you said, with United Healthcare, and we signed another agreement. We started to implement it with Guardian, which is the second largest insurance in the US. And we have another one, IMED, which is in late stage of integration. So I believe that this approach will help of course, the end consumer to enjoy from a huge variety that's currently doesn't have in the offline stores. Of course, from the price, the fact that he can save a lot of money, enjoy brands or
I think that there might have been a slight network issue, so you guys can move on to the next question.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I thought the network issue was on this end, actually. So yeah, I'll just say to wrap up what Eldad was saying. For us, it's been phenomenal to see the seed that was planted a few years ago to expand into really the hardcore healthcare domain, and see the fruition of that and the realization of that with really the tier one players in the healthcare market in the United States. So it's a job well done, really. So Mirit, Kaltura, also a mature company, been around for a while, serving multiple customer segments. And I know that you've had healthcare customers as enterprise customers for quite a while, but more recently, there's been more emphasis on specific healthcare use cases around Kaltura's platform. So just wondering if you could share a little bit with us about what some of those specific use cases are that you're exploring and where you see the opportunity in the future.
Sure. So I'll start with a secret. It's hard to believe, but the healthcare industry, the video for health, was a strategic focus for Kaltura long before the COVID. Even though now it seems like it's a magical. And we have working with the leading, as you said, health organizations around the world, hospitals, pharma, health tech companies, content providers. We have all kinds of use cases and all kinds of customers in this field already. I'll share maybe 2 or 3 use cases just to give you like the wider picture. I'll start with Mayo Clinic. Mayo Clinic, I guess everybody knows, is one of our largest customers. Patients that are having any kind of procedure in Mayo Clinic get short videos during, before, and after the procedure. It begins 3 weeks before the procedure. They get short video of understanding what is going to happen, how the procedure is going to be. During the procedure, they get a short video that is replacing the long terms they need to sign and nobody reads. So instead of that, you can see a short video, enter 2 or 3 quizzes in the end, and you're okay to go. And it's also okay with the insurance company. And now the doctor can actually understand, the patient really understand the procedure, understand what's going on, answered all the questions. It's short, it's full of content, and it's exactly what the patient and the clinic need. And also, most important, after the procedure, they get videos to understand how to replace the Band-Aid, how to inject the medicine. All of this content helps the patient to be more healthier, and also helps the clinic to make sure the patient is not going back. So it's reducing the readmission, and it's a win-win-win to everybody. So this is one use case, the full cycle of the patient engagement with the procedure in the middle and all wrapping it. I'll give you 2 different use cases from different worlds. So the first one will be the health tech. The health tech industry is booming. It's booming in the last 6 months. It's amazing. Everybody can see it. Especially we see a lot of health tech companies that need video to put inside their solution to help them to grow their business, to grow their offering, to their customers by using VOD, by using real-time communication, by using broadcast, all kinds of options to help their product to be better, to help serve their customers. So this is the second use case. And the third use case is the pharma one, which I think very related to COVID, because before the COVID, the communication between the pharma and the healthcare professionals, the HCPs, was very one-on-one. It was very, very, very tight. And all of this communication, it all went to online. And this communication have to be managed, and they want to discuss with them the right medicine, the right treatment, and it's all moved to the digital world. Pharma and the patient engagement, they were based on this meeting in person, and it's all stopped. And I want to say that I feel that we are lucky enough to help them do it all, and we're doing all in our power to help them to get as much as possible in this digital world, from this one-on-one conversation, pharma big events and so on, and maybe even better results than before. So this is use cases that video in the health world, but it's only 3, and I can think of like 10 more. And this is what Kaltura has been doing in the last couple of months.
Yeah, it's amazing. We had a call last week, and I was really impressed with what you guys are doing in general, but also in this space in particular, and look forward to finding ways to collaborate. So we have time for one more question that I wanted to pose to Taylormed, and then we'll take one question from the audience. Srulik. So when you started the journey of Tailormed a few years ago with your co-founder Adam, and you were in the ideation phase and thinking about what problems to tackle, how to tackle them, what led you and triggered you to look at launching a fintech fintech solution for this very conservative market? What was the thought process around that, and how did you decide to merge those two opportunities?
Yeah, so it actually started from a personal story. I was my career had a background in medical device, and kind of alongside that, also I had a lot of experience as a caregiver for family members who were diagnosed with cancer, and then started to get an itch to do something with technology, trying to help patients in that space. But I decided that I have a few questions that I want to answer before kind of embarking on this very challenging and long journey. One is to find a big enough problem. Second was to find what I can do with technology to solve for it. And I think that I was very much almost obsessed with finding how I can at least have a path towards a business model for that type of solution. And to answer the first question, I went after the US market and not Israel, because although close to my heart, it's a tiny opportunity from a venture perspective. And kind of making a long story short, those 3 eventually led me to be drawn more and more into the intersection of healthcare and finance, and more specifically to understand the hardships that patients are experiencing in the United States around affording their care, something that was completely new to me coming from Israel, caregiving for family members who were diagnosed here. But what I also understood is, in addition to having patients experiencing financial hardship, a lot of different ecosystem players like providers, employers, manufacturers, pharma companies, and so forth are impacted by that. And I started to see and very deeply follow the trail of healthcare financing within the space. And that led me to find a win-win situation between patients, providers, and a venture company like us. I saw that on the one hand, you can help patients get better funding for their care. On the other hand, see how healthcare providers can increase revenue collections as a result of that, and build a business model around that, which has a direct ROI impact and a direct bottom line impact for providers, which was something that I couldn't find in different ideation phases I had before in digital health. So I think that that's something that, for me was the idea and the process behind starting Tailormed. And I think that, just my 2 cents, a lot of interesting technologies are going on in the world nowadays, especially around digital health, making sure that there is an understanding of who is paying for that technology at the end of the day is very important before you are making that very challenging leap. So that's kind of what guided me. You're on mute, Natalie.
It makes a lot of sense, and the fact that you did the work ahead of time in validating if there really was a need and a market that supported that unmet need, I think was crucial, and seems like you have figured it out, at least for phase 1, for sure. So we have time for one question from the audience, and I'm just gonna pose it here. It's mostly, I think, would be probably for Glasses USA and for Kaltura. Did the fact that you weren't solely focused on the healthcare vertical at the start of your business help you or harm you in any way as you began to penetrate the healthcare domain? So Eldad?
When we started the business, we saw ourselves as online marketing company that happened to sell glasses. So it's true that we didn't focus on the healthcare. It's true that during the years when we understood exactly what is the needs that we need to supply and what is the perspective of like a medical device to the end user, we had to become more professionals about it. So we learned it during the years, and we partnered ourselves with the big players that do come from this optical or from this medical world. Also, when we look for our investors, it's not by accident that we met you. We also wanted to have some of the investors that are coming from this world, and that was the idea, to have some kind of knowledge and enjoy from the investor's knowledge and his expertise in working in that field.
Great, thank you. It's been definitely a great partnership so far. Mirit, anything that you have noticed at Kaltura that started not very focused on healthcare, built a very strong business outside of healthcare that helped you to penetrate the healthcare domain?
For one hand, I want to say that communication is communication is communication, and that engagement are engagement are engagement. And yet, in healthcare, communication and engagement are a matter of life and death. And if not life and death, it's about well-being, the mental health of ours and our belongings. So of course, as time goes by, we understand that the amazing communication and engagement platforms we have in different verticals is helping us to start in the healthcare world, to expand in the healthcare world. But of course, we need to speak the right language and to bring the digital video transformation to the healthcare world with its own elements and its own character. You're on mute, Natalie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And I'm being prompted that we're out of time. We have a lot more questions, but we'll have to save it for another time. Noah, are we moving on to part 2 of the event?
Yes, guys. First of all, thank you so much to all of our panelists and to Natalie, Mr. Rulik, Eldad, Mirit. Thank you so much. This was very enlightening, and we loved hearing all of your stories. To all of our attendees, I hope that you guys are excited because we got to the happy hour part of our event. This is where you guys get to network with all of the teams, with the speakers that you heard today. Some of you are also going to be on one-on-one meetings. And let me just give you kind of like the overview so you'll know where to go from here. There are many opportunities and things that you can do within this platform. So we have 4 networking rooms for you. You can enter our main networking room at the top of this page if you click on the networking lounge. The team is waiting for you there with some cool games, so bring your beers and get ready to meet some new people. You can get to the other rooms, the other networking rooms, by clicking on the Sponsors tab, choosing AWS, Kaltura, or Triventures, and then clicking on the Let's Chat button. The AWS, Kaltura, and Triventures teams are also waiting for you there with lots of fun games and, of course, answers to your questions and information. If you have your one-on-one meeting booked and you got a separate calendar invite, please make sure to be there on time for your meeting, because these meetings are very short. It's a quick introduction and they'll take it from there. We have many requests for one-on-one meetings. So if you asked for a meeting and you didn't get an invite, please make sure to visit the relevant networking room. For example, if you wanted to meet with AWS and you didn't get a calendar invite, it's simply because we didn't have enough time. So please make sure to join the AWS Networking Lounge by clicking on the Let's Chat button within the AWS sponsor page, and you will be able to meet with the team there, maybe leave your details, and they will get back to you to schedule a one-on-one meeting later on. That's it on my end. Thank you everybody for joining this part of the event. Please get your drinks, get your cup of coffee, maybe get a snack, and please enjoy connecting and join us in all of the networking rooms. Thank you very much again to all of our amazing speakers today. We're really excited about the networking part of this event, so don't go anywhere. Thanks.